My name is Thiru and I'm going to be presenting tonight. So on behalf of Engic, Singapore, and the distributors who brought you here, let me bid you a warm welcome. Yeah, I need to appreciate your time here because in today's day and age, I know you all are busy, so you can be in many other places, right? So the fact that you are here, staying present here, at least means one thing, means that you've got an open mind to receive new information, which is good, yeah? Because the educated mind is always open. Take in all the information, and then you can go back and evaluate it. Today, Google is a friend. It's very easy to evaluate whatever information that's presented in Google. You can verify all the information. You don't have to believe everything that I say here. You don't have to, in fact, you shouldn't, yeah? Because it comes from my experience. You can always verify. So since you are already here and present here, I hope you stay present here. You know how it is when we can be in one place physically, but sometimes our mind is always wandering everywhere because we've got so many other things. I'll try and request that you stay present here and not wander about. So in order to assist you to do that, I would request that you take out that mobile device that we all cannot seem to do without and put it to silent mode. Could you do that, please? Now, if you really must answer a call or reply to that message which is urgent, please do so, but step out of the room to do it so that you do not disturb anyone else who's in the room. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's fine. And since you're already here and present here, I hope you keep an open mind. I always start the talk by telling my audience that the mind is like a parachute. A parachute is only useful when it's open. Right? So the same way, keep your mind open and you'll find that you will get the most out of this evening. And as you sit there in the chairs, those chairs, thinking those thoughts and keeping an open mind, listening to the lecture, you will find that from time to time you'll get a bit of questions in your head. I would also suggest or request that you hold back on the questions. If you need to, write it down. Okay? Because sometimes a question that appears in your mind at a particular point in time may get answered somewhere along the presentation. So in order to keep this presentation moving so that we have better efficient use of the time, hold back on the questions. Would that be okay? Yeah? If by the end of the presentation, if you still have got those questions and if they are still not answered, please feel free to ask them. And I will do my level best to make sure that I answer it to the best of my ability. Okay? Would that be fair? Yeah? So as you are sitting there with an open mind, hold back on the questions, I would also request that since this is an information exchange, that you participate fully. From time to time, I'll be asking questions and I will ask you all to participate. Because that's my way of keeping you engaged and also measuring that the information that I've got is actually reaching you. So participate fully. And when you do that, if you do that, you'll get the most out of this evening. I will promise you, if you do those 4 things, stay present in this room, keep an open mind, hold back on the questions, and participate fully, I will do my level best to make sure that the next 1 hour or so that you spend here will be the best investment of your time. The information that we have here, it doesn't come from me. It comes from experts. All I've done is research, collated them together, and I'm presenting to them to you here today in a manner in which you can understand. And the information that we have is actually very powerful. It has the ability to change your life. How do I know? Because it changed mine. It changed a lot of other people that I know of. Okay? So, with that in mind, is it okay if I tell you a little bit about myself and why is it that I'm standing here on a Wednesday evening presenting to you, and why am I passionate about this? Is it okay? Just for a quick while? Thank you. See, until November of 2011, I didn't know anything about this information that I'm presenting to you. Until November of 2011, I, like everyone else, believed Lee Kuan Yew that Singapore has got one of the cleanest water in the world. I don't know how many of you remember this, but about 30 over years ago, he made an appeal, a passionate appeal over TV, that we've got one of the cleanest water in the world. This was back in the 70s. We've invested a lot in infrastructure. So don't waste energy by reboiling that water. Because if millions of households take that water from the tap and reboil it, we are wasting a lot of energy because the water is already clean enough to drink. And he took a glass of water and drank it. I personally took that message to heart and I used to drink water from anywhere. I mean anywhere. Even from the toilet. Yeah? But not from the toilet bowl. Okay? Now, we happen to be living in a country where we are very fortunate. You open the tap, you get clean water. The water in Singapore's tap is drinkable unless they state it is otherwise. Do you know of any place in Singapore where they tell you that the water is not drinkable? Do you know? There are some places in the industrial estates where the taps will be labeled not potable. So unless you see a word which says not potable, you can drink water from anywhere. Doesn't matter even if it's from the toilet tap, because it's the same water. In most other countries, third world countries, it is the other way around. You've got to assume that you cannot drink the water unless they state it is drinkable. Do you all know that? You all know that if you travel to Malaysia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, everywhere, you will know this. You cannot just drink the water. In Singapore, we happen to be very fortunate, aren't we? It is the cleanest water in the world. By WHO standard, it is one of the cleanest in the world. But is it the best water for your body? Now that's an entirely different question altogether. I, just like you, didn't know anything about it. And I was happily drinking away the water. Okay, it is clean. There's no problem with that. But there are other effects to it. Okay? Which, in November of 2011, I happened to find out. Because back then, as healthy as I was, as good as I looked, there was something inherently wrong within me. I didn't know that. Because I was falling sick quite often. And not only did I fall sick, the sickness used to last pretty long. How many of you have heard of this thing called the 100-day cough? In Singapore, you all know 100-day cough. Mine seemed to last for about 200 days. And in between the period when I recovered, the recovery period was very short, and I used to fall sick again. So much so that a good friend of mine, when he saw me, he said, "Thiru, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "Why?" He said, "You are always sick. I look much more unhealthy compared to you, but you are always falling sick. Something must be wrong." That got me thinking. So I went to try and do some research. I went looking for answer. One thing led to another. I eventually ended up in that man Desmond's health practice in Chinatown. He runs a alternative healing center, a very hygienic healing center in Lucky Chinatown. I ended up in his place, and his wife Doris did a food detox for me because a friend said that it could be there are a lot of toxins in your system and you need to get rid of it. So while I sat there and I was doing this food detox for about 45 minutes, Desmond very slyly introduced his water to me. And he said, "Since you're going to sit there for 45 minutes, is it okay if I show you something about this machine that I've got?" And he had this machine up there. And he said something about, it's a 10-minute video. It was called the International Health and Wellness Report on Restructured Water. So because I was sitting there, I had an open mind, like you should have at this moment. Yeah, I thought 10 minutes, I'm going to sit there 45 minutes, so why not? And I watched the video. And in that video, the information that was presented kind of like got me a bit interested because it made a lot of sense. In that video, you would see in Japanese hospitals, patients getting treated with the water from this machine, the varying waters from this machine. And one particular patient was an elderly gentleman with his foot completely gangrenous. The toes are all really rotting away. And his foot would have been marked for amputation. And as a last ditch resort, what they would do is they would soak his feet on strong acidic water, which is from this machine, 2.5. And then they would make him drink about 5 liters of alkaline water. And within about 2 weeks, they would save his feet. You would see that his feet would be cured. The toes would be all gone because they are beyond repair. But the foot would have been saved, and you will see the next shot, he'll be wearing a sport shoe and walking up happily. A man whose foot nearly got amputated. That kind of like got me very, very interested with the information that was presented there. That's when Desmond very slyly said the statement, which kind of blew my mind. He said, "Now that you have found out about the water, would you like to try it?" And of course, when a salesman tells you, "Would you like to try it?" you've got to be a bit cautious, right? Yeah, it means taking out some money, right? That's what I was thinking anyway. Yeah, how much is it going to cost me? He said, no, you can try it for free. Say, "Free? How much water can you give me, Desmond? Don't kid around, you know." But no, I'll give you 5 liters of water per day for the next 14 days or maybe even a month if you want. All you need to do is pay me for the container, just $5, and you can come back and refill. 5 liters per day for the next 2 weeks or 1 month if you need to. Now, that blew my mind at many levels, as it should to you. Because what kind of a confidence level must this man have in the efficacy of this water, in what they say he can do, in order for him to make that promise? Yeah. Later on, I found out it's not just him, it is a company's philosophy, because they believe so strongly about what this water can do that they can make you that offer. In today's day and age, I'm sure you've gone to a lot of presentations with a lot of miraculous cures from a lot of M&M companies. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah? Thank you. But all of them require a commitment from you, require you to take that leap of faith and take out some money from your pocket and give it. Whether it's 1 month or 2 months, and some people say minimum 6 months, pay $2,000, $3,000. Am I right? Am I right? But this company, they say no, you just educate the people and take the water away free, and you will know. So it got me really thinking, what kind of a confidence level must this company have? So I said, okay, I've got nothing to lose, right? I'll take the water, and I tried. But before I did that, he said they exacted one more promise from me. And I would suggest, if you want to try this water after this presentation, you do the same thing to yourself. And that is that when you take this water, try it with volition. Don't try it half-heartedly, because then you will do a disservice to yourself and the people around you. Would that be fair? So if you decide to take that step and want to try the water, try it diligently. Because there's so many water out there, and after today's presentation, you will know what they do to your body. So as far as possible, you want to try drinking this water and drink 2 to 3 liters of this water every day. Would that be fair enough? So I said, okay, I can commit to that. After all, I just come and pick the water, and I tried it. So 1 month as I was trying the water, I'm the kind of person who likes to do a lot of research. So I did. And everything that I read pointed to the fact that this is quite a good water. It won't be harmful, but it probably will also do a lot of good. So I drank the water. I had varying degrees. I felt a bit better, I recovered, things like that. I felt that I also had a lot of energy and stuff like that. So 1 month later, I decided, okay, after all, I'm drinking this, chlorine is bad, this water takes everything away, and it gives you very good properties, and I bought the machine. But I wasn't strongly convinced enough to be evangelistic about this water, to go out there and promote. You understand what I mean? I took it for my own consumption, that was fine. But to stand up and preach about it, well, I hadn't crossed that line yet. So I took that water and I started drinking it. Until March of 2012, something else happened. In March of 2012, I happened to attend a seminar, and in the seminar, I spoke to one of the fellow seminar attendees after the seminar, and in my casual conversation, I told him about this water. And I told him how they say it cures psoriasis and eczema and stuff like that. And he asked me this question. He said, Thiru, will this help my wife? So I said, what's wrong with your wife? And he said, she's got psoriasis, the condition that he talked about. And the psoriasis is so bad that besides the body, it's affecting the face. And it's black marks all over the face. And that's kind of affecting her and affecting her personality. You know, right? It would, because the face is very important, isn't it? So I said, I don't know. The literature says that. I've read a lot of things. From all counts, it means it should help. So why don't you take it? I'll give it to you for free. Again, the same message was, if you want to try it with volition, try it regularly, come and collect it. The problem was, after talking to him and telling him about this, I had to leave for India for about 9 days. So I said, well, I can't give you the water. Please go and see Desmond in his shop, and he will gladly give you the water for free. And I left. 9 days later, when I came back, Desmond told me, hey, Thiru, the guy you introduced, good news for you, he already bought the machine. It took him 5 days to make the decision. Don't get me wrong, I took 1 month to decide. But for him, it took 5 days. Why? Because when I called him up and I said, hey, what happened? How come? Because it's a commitment. To some people, it is a commitment. Yeah. So I said, what happened? And tell me what's actually happening. He said, the wife's face changed in 5 days. Changed so much, and whatever he has seen, it made so much of sense that he decided, why waste time with it? Get on with it. It was making so much of a difference, because it's a condition which the wife was suffering for about 8 over years, and she couldn't find a solution. Every time she went, they gave her steroidal cream, but after a while, it doesn't work. That's psoriasis and eczema for you. Yeah. So when I came back that evening, I thought, what am I doing? I've got a machine which is almost miraculous in what it can do for people, and I'm sitting and drinking the water on my own. Am I being selfish or what? So I said, okay, I will immediately that night, I sent an email out to about 200 of my friends in my Gmail contact. The very next day, a very good friend of mine who is now situated in Bombay sent his younger brother to my place. This friend is a very close friend. I've known them for 30 over years. And the mother is like my mother, because we go to the house, sit down, eat food and stuff like that. What the brother told me kind of like saddened me, because his mom at that point in time had already had her right leg amputated below the knee. She's diabetic, she's about 78 years old, and she was in a very bad condition. Okay, because after that operation, the wound refused to heal. So she was in a very bad state, she was very weak because they're pumping her up with antibiotics. So he came and saw me, because part of the things that the literature says is water can actually help with diabetic patients and all that. I felt very sad that it happened, because if you saw that video that I'm talking about, that I told you about earlier with the gentleman, down there, a completely gangrenous foot, they save it by soaking in this water and making them drink. And down here, they operated on the mother. And before they operated, this is what happened. The mom's feet, because she was diabetic, there was no circulation on the right leg. So they did an operation, they put a stent into it. It didn't work because the blood was still clotting. They did a second operation, they put another stent into it. It still didn't work because they were not tackling the root cause, right? It was clotting, you put a stent down there, it was still clotting. So then the next statement they made was, they said, your mom's feet will die, so we need to amputate. Because at her age, if she dies, if the toxins travel back up, she'll be in trouble. So think about this. In Japan, they save a foot which is completely gangrenous. In Singapore, they cut off the leg saying that it will die. The operative word being it will die. So it got me very, very, very sad. Which kind of also reminds me of the time when I listened to Dr. Ko. Dr. Ko is a retired gynecologist. He was giving a lecture. He's now a very, very, very strong proponent of this particular water. He used to be of some other Korean brand, but now he's realized that this is the top of the range, this is the best in the market, so he gives lectures on this. And in one of his lectures, he was talking about how a friend of his, about 50-something years old, in the earlier part of the year when he went for his medical checkup, he was completely diagnosed as being healthy. He went for his complete medical checkup, you know, the treadmill, the blood test, and all those kind of stuff. They told him he has got a good state of health, he's okay. But within 6 months of that okay diagnosis, he developed cancer. So in his lecture, Dr. Ko was saying, so what then is healthy? You and I look healthy, we think we are healthy. But what then is healthy? Because knowing what we know in today's medical sciences with all the health reports and whatever checkup we can go for, they couldn't identify that his body was ripe enough for cancer to explode within 6 months. So he made a statement, he said the true health is actually the acid and alkaline balance, which not many people talk about. When you go for your test, they don't test you for that. And the main reason is because they are looking at you at that point in time, and they're looking at symptoms, they're not looking at root causes. That is the biggest problem that we have. So that's what Dr. Ko said. Which brings me to the topic of this topic, which is the reason why I'm here today, because that sad episode with my friend's mother-in-law propelled me to do a lot more stuff. Because I know we can change people for the better. Okay? Yeah? That's the reason why I'm here, because I don't want to ever be in a situation where I could have done something about it and I didn't do anything about it. If I had done it 3 months earlier, maybe my friend's mom, her feet would have been saved. I don't know. Right? But this is something we got to live with. So let me come down to this water. This topic is called Kangen water. Okay? Kangen water, the term Kangen means return to origin. The founder, Mr. Hironari Oshiro, when he named it, he trademarked his name because he wanted people to have this vision that he's bringing you back to an original healthy state. Okay? We all know that all living things depend on water. Am I right? Whether it's plants, animals, or human beings. But have you ever considered about the quality and the type of water that you're drinking? How important it is? I didn't until November of 2011. That's why he named this, change your water, change your life. And trust me, the information that I have today, by the end of today's presentation, it will change your life. How do I know that? Because it changed mine. Okay? If by the end of this presentation, all you found out was the 3 main root causes of all degenerative diseases that can affect you or your loved ones, and if the information causes you to make that minor adjustment or changes in your life so that you can live a little better and therefore impact the people around you, would that be good enough? Would that mean that your investment of time here, would it have been worthwhile? Even if you don't buy the water? And that's exactly what will happen. Okay? So as I was telling you, Kangen water means return to origin. That's what Kangen Japanese term means, return to origin. Why? Because when you're born, all babies are alkaline. Did you know that? The amniotic fluid of the mother, where the baby is gestating, is all alkaline. But by the time you go to the end of your grave, your body's pH is very acidic. So on one side you've got life and birth, on the other side you've got death. Think about that. Okay? Now, the 3 main root causes of all degenerative diseases. The first one is called oxidative stress caused by free radicals. Okay? What is it? Exactly what happens, I will go through in a short while. The second main root cause is actually too much of acidity, or it's called acidosis. And the third main root cause is dehydration, or lack of water. Not lack of water outside, but lack of water within your body. These are the three main root causes. So in the course of this presentation, I'm going to illustrate and tell you why this is so. And in no uncertain terms, you are going to find out that this water has got certain properties which will negate all of this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Good? I need participation, yeah? It's an energy exchange. The more energy I get, the more I will give. And you do want to get the most out of this evening. Am I right? You want to go away really empowered, and that's what's going to happen. So please participate, yeah? Okay. So the first one, oxidative stress, free radical damage. What is oxidative stress? Anyone? Any clue? Any clue what is oxidative stress? Anybody? No? Okay. Oxidative stress is something that happens in your body every day, every second. Okay? It is caused by free radicals sucking electrons out of your normal cells. Okay? Then you need to understand what are free radicals. Free radicals are introduced into your body. The term connotes free and radical. Free doesn't mean good. Okay? Free means they got no function. Radical, they radicalize or destroy your cells. Okay? A free radical is a substance that gets into your system. When you breathe pollution, the pollution going in is a free radical. Besides that, when you have, your body goes through metabolism, and metabolism throws out waste product, byproduct, which is very acidic and also causes to have something called free radical, which is active oxygen. Okay? A free radical by definition is an unstable compound or unstable substance in your system which has lost an electron. So it needs an electron. So until it gets its electron, it's going to be unstable. It's looking for an electron from anywhere it can find. It doesn't distinguish where it gets the electron from. Okay? In your body, absent anything else, it will latch onto a good cell and suck the electron out. That process of removing an electron from your normal cells causes oxidative stress. In nature, you've got examples of oxidative stress. What are they? If you cut an apple, you leave it, it becomes black. That's a process of oxidation. If you have got metal, you leave it out in the open, it rusts. That rust is an oxidative process. In human beings, you are born like that, and then by the time you go to the grave, you end up looking like that. That's a sign of oxidative stress. It also causes aging. It degenerates your cells, and therefore it degenerates your tissues, and therefore it also degenerates your organs. Because that's what, at the basic building block, that's what you have. You're made up of cells. Put a bunch of cells together, you get tissues. Tissues clumped up together become organs. And you put a few organs together, wrap it around the body, you get your body. So the basic building block of everything in you is cells. Simple enough at the moment? Okay, so that's what happens. Living tissues plus oxidation literally leads to sickness and aging. So if you can just neutralize or eradicate oxidative stress, you will do yourself a whole world of good. Okay? In Kangen's breakthrough water technology, okay, the detoxification properties of Kangen water is actually anti-oxidation, anti-inflammatory, and anti-aging. Okay? You don't have to take my word for it. As I told you earlier, I'll be quoting to you from experts, not myself. Yeah. This man, Hironari Oshiro, is a living testament to this. He is the founder of Engic. Yeah. Let me ask you a simple question. Can you guess how old that man is looking at him? Can you guess? Not the good-looking guy on the right, the one in the middle. Can you guess? I took this picture with him in September of 2011 when he opened up the Malaysian office. Can you guess anybody who has not been here before? Do you know how? Can you guess how old he is? Just take a wild guess. Doesn't matter. Can? Guess? Anybody?
72.
About 72. You're pretty good. But most people wouldn't guess that he's 72. Yeah? He is about 73 years old. He is. But most people would think that he's about 50-something. Because what's interesting with him is that he not only looks the way he does, but he has got that much of energy when he's on stage. He behaves like a young man with that kind of energy. At 76 years old, I know how my mum is. She needs support, she needs help. She's very frail, she's white hair, she's like that stunted. This man is up there and he's full of a lot of energy. It is the lifestyle that we're talking about. It's not just a matter of looking young. Am I right? You want to, at his age, I want to live his kind of a lifestyle. Active, independent. Would you agree? That's exactly what happens with this. And the reason why he is like that is because he's been drinking this water for more than 20 over years. Because he's the founder of this company. Okay? Now, you don't have to take, again, my word or his word for it, but this is from another professional called Dr. Hari Sharma, MD. His credentials are there. I don't want to bore you by reading all of it. But what's important is that he is actually a well-accomplished person. He's a professor of pathology and director of the Cancer Prevention Natural Products Research at the Ohio State University College of Medicine. He has also lectured all around the world to medical audiences, including the WHO Health Organization. So he's a man of substance. In his statement, this is a statement that he makes. Okay? He says if free radicals are produced in the DNA, and the DNA becomes transformed and it becomes mutated. Mutated, transformed DNA will produce leukemia, cancer, lymphoma, diabetes, kidney problem, liver problem, and almost every disease is related to the damage caused by these free radicals. Free radical damage is the same as oxidative stress. Okay? If we remove the damage we are causing ourselves, and he uses the word, all these diseases can be prevented. Take a look at this chart. It kind of indicates all the diseases as caused by free radical damage. If you look through it, almost every organ in our body is affected by free radical damage. So in a nutshell, if you can neutralize this free radical damage, you will literally stop or prevent yourself or reduce the probability of you getting any one of these diseases. Look at the chart closely, because in there is probably something which might affect somebody that you know. Very common. Yeah. So that's what happens. So how do you neutralize free radical damage? As I told you earlier, a free radical is a substance which is unstable. It needs an electron. Until it gets an electron, it is going to be sucking things out of your normal cells. So you've got something called antioxidants which counteract free radicals. The function of antioxidants are they donate electrons to the free radicals. And once the free radicals get the electron, they become neutralized. Then what's left is just for your body to flush it out of your system. So that free radical will no longer cause the damage which it would otherwise cause in your body. Simple enough? I'm sure you guys know about antioxidants, right? Yeah? It's a multi-million-dollar industry. Nature's Farm, GNC, wherever you go you can find this. The most common antioxidant is of course vitamin C. Yeah? It's vitamin C. But what they don't tell you is that vitamin C, while it's an antioxidant, the minute it donates its electron, it's now lacking an electron, it becomes a free radical. Although it becomes a lesser damaging free radical than the normal free radical in your system. But it still needs to be flushed out of the system. 16 years ago, I found out about a more powerful antioxidant, something called pycnogenol. Have you heard of it? Pycnogenol? No? Pycnogenol is a pine bark extract. It's supposed to be a very powerful antioxidant. A lesser known, cheaper cousin to that is grapeseed extract. Have you heard of that? These are all antioxidants. If you go to GNC, you go to Nature's Farm, there are dime a dozen bottles out there because it's a multi-million-dollar industry. Okay? And the purpose of antioxidant is to neutralize free radicals. And free radical damage happens in your body every day, every second. Okay? So if I can show you today a simple way of getting rid of those free radical damage without having to pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars for all these supplements, would that be good? Would that be good? And I'm going to show it to you in a way in which you can see it for yourself, right? And which is what this part of the demonstration is going to be. Now, for that I'm going to use some samples of water that we have got, and I'm going to use a machine that is actually produced by the American Marine Inc. Incidentally, this machine is actually produced not to test this water, but it's produced for aquariums. Why? Because the fishes will die if the oxidative stress level in the water is too high. So you take this, you plug it onto the aquarium, you leave it there, and you monitor your oxidative stress level. What it reads is, this meter is called the oxidative reduction potential, or otherwise commonly also called redox meter. A substance that you take out there is either oxidative in nature, which means it is like a free radical, it stresses you out, yeah? Or it's reducing in nature, which means it is the opposite of an oxidative substance. It neutralizes the free radical. Okay, that's what it means. That's why they call this the oxidation reduction potential. The potential of the water to either oxidize you or reduce you. Okay, in case you got confused, reduction is good, oxidation is bad. Simple enough? Yeah? Now, when a substance has lost an electron, it will be positively charged. So, in this meter reading, it is in millivolts. If a number like this, if you read a number which says 240, it means per second 240 electrons can be sucked out of your cells. Okay, if it's positive reading. If it's negative, it means 240 electrons is contributed to your cells. So you want to take substances which are negative. And this is a neutral machine, it's not produced by this company. Okay, so in a short while what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all the varying waters. Because we drink water most of the time to quench our thirst, and we hope that it is doing a lot of good for us. Am I right? Am I right? We want to hydrate ourselves. But little do we realize that sometimes, unknowingly, some of these waters actually add more to the damage. Okay, so I think we've got that. And we will have, and for this of course we will also use our tap water, good old Singapore tap water. Okay, and then I'm going to show you with this. This says 9.5 pH Kangen water, which is nothing more than our Singapore tap water after it has been processed by the machine, by this machine. Okay? Now, let me set this up. I'm going to put 1 cup here so that we can use that to rinse. So that we don't get accused of contaminating. Okay, over here we've got Sprite, which literally represents all aerated drinks. Coke, Pepsi, 7-Up and all that. We use Sprite because it's colorless, it's easier to see. Okay? So this is Sprite. All carbonated water will fall under this category. Yeah? Then you've got 100 plus, which represents all the sports drink. Right? Whether it's Gatorade, Pocari, 100 plus and you name it, whatever else you have, they all fall under this category. Okay? And then you've got distilled water. How many of you are in the habit of drinking distilled water? Anybody? No? Okay, it's quite common, yeah? A lot of people think that distilled water is very good and they start drinking this. So this one happens to be a no-frill kind of a shop and save distilled water. So any distilled water you get out there, they all fall under the same category. Okay? And then you've got Ice Mountain, which is, it says mineral water. It can also represent the Sunny's water and everything. They all come through the same processes. Okay, which is very common. For good measure, we also have Evian, because Evian is a mineral water, and why we specifically like to have this is because it's a premium product. Am I right? You see the bottle also is like 1/3 the size of that, and it's 3 times the price. So 3 times the price, 1/3 the quantity, but you know, people still pay. Good mineral water from the Alps, right? And like I said, you've got good old Singapore's tap water. And then you have got the processed tap water, which is otherwise known as Kangen water. Incidentally, Kangen water, the term Kangen water has been trademarked. So no other water from any other ionization machine can be called Kangen water. Okay? This one is for later use for something else. Now, all I'm going to do is dip this into the varying liquids. And as I dip, this meter will change in reading. Can I have a volunteer, just as you are, I hope you can see it, to read this reading? Okay? Just read and tell the audience what is that reading. Okay? So I'm going to start with the tap water. So we dip with tap water. What is the reading that you get from this? Quickly? You can't see. Okay, anybody else can see? It says here 340. Now this is a very sensitive equipment, so we don't need to wait for it to settle down. Yeah? What we'll do is 200 plus, 300 plus, 400 plus, whatever, that's good enough. Yeah? So this says 345. Now, just to recap, 345 means this water actually has the potential to suck 345 electrons from your body. Okay? Is it adding to your oxidative stress or is it reducing it? Is it adding to it? Yeah? Okay, so the water, let me clean it out. Let's go for Evian. What do you have? Again, 350 something, right? No big difference, right? It's the same. Right? Okay. Now, you've got FNN's water. What is that? 336. So it seems to be a bit better than Evian anyway. So okay. Then you've got distilled water from Shop and Save. Yeah? 310. So they're all above 300, isn't it, so far? Yeah? Above 300. You've got sports drink, supposed to give you a lot of energy and good stuff and all that. 400 something, yeah? Am I right? 400 something. Okay, so they should call it 400 plus and not 100 plus, yeah? And then you've got Sprite, which represents all soda drinks. 442, worse, isn't it? Typically these two are about the same actually, they're all quite bad. And then, let's test the Kangen water. What's the reading? Minus 470 odd, yeah? Now, let me, in case you think the machine is spoiled, let me put it back into tap water and see what happens. So the minute you put it inside, that potential of the water is reflected in the machine immediately. What is the number you have got? 250 something now, right? And it's getting worse. Whereas in this water, machines don't lie, they are neutral machines. So the potential in either of this water is exactly that. And they are on the opposite end of the spectrum. On one side you have got as bad as minus 400, I mean as good as minus 400. On the other side you have something which is as bad as plus 400. In between them it's about close to 800 over millivolts. That's actually opposite. I don't know whether you understand the implication of this, because one, while it sucks life out of you, the other one has got the ability to give life. There are two ends of the pole. All we try and tell people is this: if your body, I guess most of us would be drinking tap water most of the time or whatever, and our body has got so much of oxidative stress, right? All we try and tell you is, keep drinking this. And over time in your system, your oxidative stress will get reduced. And with that, you will get all the good benefits of antioxidants. Can you see it has gone back to minus? So I'm now a simple way to reduce oxidative stress. That's the main point that we all try to make. You see, in every day in our life, because there's metabolic activity that's going on continuously in our system, there's always oxidative stress. Because a byproduct of that metabolic activity is active oxygen, which is a free radical. And your body needs to get rid of it. But to add to that, we end up breathing in pollution. We end up taking a lot of pesticides, which is laced on our vegetables. We lead a very stressful life. All of this adds a lot more to your oxidative stress. Do you need to add more oxidative stress into your system with the drinking water? Obviously not, isn't it? Which is where we are telling you, do the others, do the reverse of that, and you start seeing health benefits. Simple enough? Let me just refill this back up. So that's the part one, the first part of this demo. Okay? So you found out how, and I believe I've demonstrated to you that the water is different, isn't it? Very much different. You can see for yourself. So, in a nutshell, in summary, you have this. On one side of the spectrum, you've got sports drinks, sodas, all supposed to do all sorts of good things, stuff for you, and they end up oxidizing you even more, adding to your oxidative stress. Then you've got RO water, distilled water, mineral water, sparkling water, all in that category, roughly about 200 plus, 300 plus. Incidentally, RO water and distilled water are one of the worst water to drink, because it doesn't have any sort of mineral content in it. And the metabolic process in your body requires minerals. So if the water doesn't have the minerals, your body will leach this mineral from your bones, which will lead to osteoporosis. Thank you. Thank you. And which is true, because I know of a lady who drank RO water for 2 years and has got osteoporosis, and she's young. The doctor couldn't understand why she has osteoporosis, because there's no family history. And then when I told her that it's because of your water, then she said, now it makes sense. And she was only about 38 years old. Yeah? Okay. Tap water is around there, depending on which part of the country you take, or which country you are from and all that, and the water, how badly it's corroded, or all those factors affect tap water. So remember this, anything that you drink on the other side leads to oxidation and leads to sickness. Vitamin C has got minus 100, you've got green tea, which is about around there, minus 200. And of course, interestingly, cod liver oil has got minus 200, which is good, yeah? Which is good. But how many of you can see yourself drinking about 1 liter of cod liver oil every day? Yeah. I think the easiest solution is this. Because the machine that we have, the SD501, the flagship model, at source, when you pick it up, it can have as high as minus 800 ORP. And the more you drink, the better it is for you. Okay? So there you have the first root cause. We can clear it very easily. The second root cause is acidosis, too much of acidity. Now you may wonder why that happens. Yeah? I told you a little bit of facts earlier, that your metabolic process throws out what is called acidic waste. That waste that comes out, that needs to be pushed out of your system, can only be pushed out of your system with water. If you don't drink enough water, your body will become very acidic. Okay? You don't have to take my word for it. Let me quote you some experts on this matter. Okay? Okay. This guy who wrote the book Alkalize or Die, Dr. Theodore A. Barudi, had this to say: all diseases come from the same root cause of too much of acidity. Okay? In his book, he said alkalize or die. It's a simple nutshell statement. It's either you will begin to alkalize or you will die because of disease and things like that. In reverse aging, Sang-Wang says removing acidic waste is more effective than diet or exercise. It doesn't mean just in terms of just losing weight. People diet or exercise for one reason besides losing weight. It is actually the main overarching reason is you want to be healthy. Am I right? So that's what he meant, because when your body becomes acidic, it goes into fat storage. Okay? That's its coping mechanism. The acidic body ends up storing a lot more fat. And together with that, the fat also stores a lot of fat-soluble toxins. That's your body's method of coping with the toxins. The toxins get embedded in the fat. It also makes the fat a bit more difficult to dissolve. So it's like a degenerative process that goes back and forth. Right? So, but it's a ticking time bomb, because you may not feel it initially, but eventually when the fat cannot cope, all the toxins will come out and you'll have a problem. Okay? Just by going into alkaline, by being more alkaline, your body will start shedding the fat very quickly. Okay? Now, there are a few more other experts who have commented on this. I'll leave you to read those. But the most important in my books is this man's discovery. This guy called Dr. Otto Heinrich Warburg. He discovered in 1923, and he published that in his report called The Metabolism of Tumors. That research was validated, and in 1931 he got a Nobel Prize for that research, which means it is already fact. It's factual. Am I right? It's factual. And yet, I didn't know about it until November of 2011. And I don't believe many of you also knew about this. And that was his statement. He said, all forms of cancer are characterized by two basic conditions: acidosis and hypoxia. Hypoxia means lack of oxygen. Acidosis means too much of acidity. In a nutshell statement, he said this: cancerous tissues are acidic and healthy tissues are alkaline. He said, if you take a normal cell and deprive it of 35% of oxygen, if you deprive it of 35% of oxygen, within 48 hours that cell will become cancerous. Because cancer is actually your own cells adapting to environment. And in this case, an environment which is too highly acidic and which lacks oxygen will cause your cell to become cancerous, will cause your cells to mutate and become cancerous. Powerful enough. Now let me ask you a question. Would you rather be acidic or alkaline? Yeah? Out there's a lot of literature and a lot of misinformation which says too much of alkalinity is no good. The real fact is that in any given day, any given time, you are always bombarded by too much of acidic forces. As I said earlier, your metabolism throws out acidic waste. You don't get rid of it, it accumulates, your body becomes acidic. You sleep late, your body becomes acidic. If you are stressed out, your body becomes acidic. The pollution that you breathe in causes your body to be acidic. The pesticide that laces all the vegetables and fruits that you eat, which you generally cannot wash away, they go inside, they also cause your body to be acidic. So in any given day, your body is always pushed towards an acidic spectrum. You don't need help to be on the acidic side. They've also found, when they test the blood and the body pH of people, the sickly people are always a lot more acidic. If you test the blood of a very sickly elderly person, his blood will be acidic. If you test the blood of a newborn baby, the blood will be alkaline. If you test the blood, if you test the amniotic fluid, it will be alkaline. So on one side is live birth, which is alkaline, and on the other side of it is death, disease, which is acidic. Okay? So even in our company, we tell people drink the 9.5 pH alkaline. And there's literature out there which says the optimum pH of the body is about 7.36 or something. So 9.5 seems to be too much. They are mistaking two different things. One is the blood pH and the other one is the body's pH. They're two different things. When you drink 9.5 alkaline, it helps to bring the body's pH down, but it still cannot make you completely alkaline. Okay? And we know that nothing bad happens to you because Mr. Hironari Oshiro has been drinking for more than 20 over years and he's still alive and very much healthy and very active. I would take his lifestyle over anyone else's. Okay? So that's where we are. Now we also know that acidic waste is the second root cause which causes all degenerative diseases. Again, this chart kind of shows you all the diseases that's out there that's actually caused by too much of acidity in your system. Earlier I showed you the chart for oxidative stress. Now it's acidic waste or too much of acidity. That's the reason why we are in such a crisis kind of a situation in the world. That's the reason why cancer is the #1 killer in the world over. It kills off more than 30% of all deaths in Singapore or in the world. Cancer, because of acidity. If you just reverse that condition, you have a way of slowing down cancer or even completely eradicating it. That's what the research of Dr. Otto Heinrich Warburg states. And he's a Nobel Prize winner. I will take his word for it anytime. Okay? So, remember this. Now how do we do this? So what does it got to do with the water? Let me just show you. Okay? So, how we test it is very simple. We've got a litmus solution. Secondary school science. I drop this into the liquid will change color because the chemical here will react with it. If it's on the purple side, it is alkaline. It is health. It is good. If it's more towards the red spectrum, red, orange, yellow kind of spectrum, it is very acidic. It is adding to your acidity. Simple enough? So same bit of water, I'm going to drop a few drops. It doesn't really matter how many drops I drop, but we'll just drop a few, okay? And then you can see for yourself whether the drinks that are out there in the market are actually acidic or alkaline. Okay? So I'm going to use this to just rinse it and you will see. This is Sprite. Acidic or alkaline? Acidic. Okay? Very badly acidic. Okay? Now this is 100 plus. Supposed to give you a lot of energy and stuff. Acidic or alkaline? Acidic. Okay? Then you've got distilled water. What is this? Acidic or alkaline? Neutral, yeah, it's a little bit more acidic because it's a bit more yellowish green. Okay? Then you've got this, which is ice mountain water, which is mildly alkaline. And you've got Evian, which is mineral water, again. Also the same category of very mildly alkaline. You've got tap water, which looks a bit like alkaline. Okay? But I got to say this about tap water because all tap water or city water contains a compound called lye. Because when they pump the water through the pipes, if it's acidic, it will corrode the pipe. So they add a chemical called lye. Lye is actually not good for you. So if I boil this, and when the lye kind of disappears, you will find that that water will be a bit more acidic. It will look a little bit more this color. Okay? So that's it. And then you've got this Kangen water. The star of the day. What is this? This is very highly alkaline, isn't it? Yeah? So of all the water that's out there, that's the reason why we use several examples of water. You can bring, if you've got a particular water that you think is very good, you can bring it over here, we can test it, we can show you whether it's alkaline or acidic. There are not many drinks out there which are alkaline. Not many at all. In my time, I've come across one, somewhere in Malaysia which was alkaline, like this. Okay. All we try and tell people is this. This is what we are trying to tell everyone, and which is what I hope you will take away. This is our water. This is the... Incidentally, I must stress this point because there's a lot of misinformation out there. This water is nothing but your ordinary tap water which has been ionized. And in that process, it becomes alkaline. It is not made alkaline by adding any additive. You can create alkaline water by adding sodium bicarbonate, by adding lime. It is not done like that. This is water by itself. There's no additive whatsoever in this water. Okay? Now, all we try and tell people is, if you've been used to drinking all this kind of water all your life, and if you continue to drink it, your body is in varying state of acidity. Okay? Most of us drink tap water, so it will be somewhere around the pH. Now, if you continue to drink this water on a regular basis, you will now slowly convert your body to be more and more alkaline. And we all know that an alkaline body is much more healthier. It's much more, it will protect you much more against disease. Okay? But over here, these two, it's a bit more difficult. Because no matter what I try and do, if your body is fed on soda drink or sports drink, it is very highly acidic. And it is so highly acidic that it's very difficult to convert them. Very, very difficult to convert them. I saw this demonstration and read about it in November of 2011, and I stopped drinking any of this drink. I used to drink a lot of this, thinking that it was good for me. Now I don't. In fact, my daughter, who now drinks more alkaline water, has got more energy playing tennis than she ever did when drinking this. Okay? Sometimes you say in our life, we got no choice, we go to a party or something like that, maybe they don't have Kangen water, they don't have any other water, and they give you this or this, and you say, what's the harm, right? Every once in a while we can drink. Now this is where I'm going to show you something. This is the reason why I stopped drinking it. This is diluted, right? It's a very diluted form of soda drink. It goes the same for both. But watch what happens if you take a sip. Even Kangen water can't fight with it. Yeah? Very powerful, very potent. One glass. In fact, one glass of this requires about 30 glasses to neutralize it. Okay, so I'm going to try and pour and see whether it changes now. 32 glasses of it, then maybe you might be able to convert it. So if you think by one glass or so you're not causing a lot of damage, think again. Still can't change. Correct? That's how much damage it does. If you want teenagers to stop drinking this, bring them over to a demonstration and show them, educate them. Hopefully they will change. Yeah? That's the reason why in America obesity is such a big problem. As I told you earlier, an acidic body will go into fat storage, it will store fat. And they are all bred on McDonald's fast food with Coke and Pepsi and stuff like that. Okay? We need to stop that. Clear enough? Clear enough? So now, with this demonstration, I've already shown you the second root cause, how easily you can get rid of it. The first root cause was oxidative stress. Yeah? Drink water which has got a lot more antioxidant. One glass of Kangen water has got more antioxidant than all the pills you can swallow. Okay? Assuming the pills that you swallow, they get absorbed by the system. That's a different story altogether, we'll cover it in a short while. And then, secondly, drinking this is alkaline. So, you kill two birds in one stone. Yeah, so far. Okay. So you've done that. The third one is dehydration. The third root cause, third major root cause. A lot of people have chronic fatigue. And they say, I'm fatigued, I'm tired because I'm overworked. But they don't realize that the chronic fatigue is a symptom of dehydration. If they only drink a lot more water, they will feel a lot better. Okay? There are two reasons why we are facing this problem of dehydration. One is you don't drink enough water. How many of you know that you have to drink about 8 glasses of water? How many of you know that? How many of you actually drink about 8 glasses of water a day? How many of you? Yeah, you all, because you've been in Kangen water, maybe yes. How many of you do? Why 8 glasses? They say that body needs on a typical day, you will lose about 2.4 liters of water just because of your metabolic process, through waste, urine, and stuff like that. Just to replace that, you need about 2.4 liters. On average, you are advised to drink 30 ml of water for every kilogram of body weight. So if you are like 70 kg, you should be drinking about 2.1 liters of water. That is if you live a sedentary kind of lifestyle, in aircon comfort in office. If you are a worker who is working outside and sweating a lot, or a sports person, then you should increase the number to 45 ml per kilogram of body weight, which puts the range of water you must drink between 2.4 to about 3 over liters. 1 cup of water is roughly about 240 ml. 1 cup. So 8 glasses will give you about 2 over liters. That's why they tell you drink 8 glasses. So the first reason we get dehydrated is because we don't drink enough water. The second reason is the water that we drink doesn't get absorbed by your cells. And why is that? Why is that? Because of this third property that we are going to demonstrate. We all know that the body is more than 75% water. So water is very essential. It is important that you drink a lot of water, because that is the only way in which a lot of acidic waste all is flushed out of the system. That's the only way in which the body helps or brings in nutrients into your cells and removes toxins or free radicals. So you need to drink a lot of water. Okay? Now, these are some experts' words on why you need to drink water. Okay? Batman Galgi, sounds like Batman, okay? Batman Galgi is a man who wrote a book which says, you are not sick, you are thirsty. Do not treat thirst with medication. Okay, he's against medication, he tells you that's the basic thing. He says, you're not sick, thirsty. Chronic cellular dehydration is the root cause of death, aging, and most degenerative diseases of the human body. That's his statement. Okay? Now, what happens? The water from our tap has got a property, and that property is the molecules bunch up together. If you put it under an electron microscope, they'll bunch up 15 to 20 molecules per cluster. They cluster up together, they stick to each other. It's called surface tension. They stick to each other. The water that comes out from this machine, after it has been ionized, bunches up into 5 to 6 molecules per cluster. How does that impact you? Very simple. Your cells, your deep down inside, at the basic building block, you are made up of cells. Right? Cells, as I did earlier, put cells together, you get tissue. Put the tissues together, you create organs. Put a few organs together, wrap it around a body, you get a body. So the basic building block of your body is cells. Every cell has got a membrane. Okay? There's intracellular stuff and external to the cellular stuff. This membrane has got a gap. And that gap is called aquaporin. Again, you can Google this. Aquaporin is 1 molecule thick. That's the thickness of aquaporin. It is that through this aquaporin that water moves in and out of the cell. If you have got a bunch of molecules which are 15 to 20 molecules sticking to each other, sitting outside your cell, it's very, very difficult to penetrate your cell. Which is why if you drink 1 liter of tap water, it will sit in your stomach, and then you'll have to go to the toilet. You will feel bloated. But Kangen water is microclustered. Because of that ionization, the molecules are no longer 15 to 20 in a cluster. They are 5 to 6 in a cluster. So they are like this. And they can penetrate a lot more easily. Which is why when you drink 1 liter of Kangen water, you won't feel bloated. Typical comments we get from people is that this water is very light. It gets absorbed within about 12 seconds or so. It gets absorbed goes up to the brain. Within about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, it goes to the skin. It hydrates you much more. How did they come up with this technology? Yeah, basically because they found that water in nature is generally microclustered. Water in nature has got a way of movement. You know, if you see rivers and streams, water doesn't move along narrow pipe, right? It moves left and right, it swirls. Tornadoes pick it up, cyclone picks it up. There's an expansive movement of water all over the place, am I right? But the water that comes to your tap, a processed water, what happens? It gets processed, I don't know how many kilometers away, and then it gets pumped through pipes which are very narrow, and they're pumped under a lot of high pressure. And when the water has got to go up to a high floor, high building like this, or anywhere else, they got to put it under a lot of pressure, right? That pressure kind of compacts the water molecules together, which is probably one of the reasons why the molecules are sticking to each other. And the water that you drink from the tap doesn't have the property that it has in nature. So when scientists discovered this, the Russian scientists and all that, that's why Hironari Oshiro picked up on it. They created a device which makes use of or mimics nature. Because in nature, the water is also affected by the Earth's magnetic field. Okay, that's why you have got the device. So now if I turn around and tell you, if I do this now, okay, let me just clear this out. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you what a microclustered water looks like and what normal water, tap water looks like, and you'll be able to tell the difference. Yeah. Okay, in order to do this, I am going to pour 2 cups, just rinse it with water. Okay. Now, so I've got tap water here. And then I have got my microclustered Kangen water. Kangen water, tap water. Tap water, Kangen water. Microclustered, not microclustered. Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? Of course we can't. You will need an electron microscope to test, to see it. Yeah? So if I tell you, you have to take my word for it, would that be acceptable? No, right? I made a promise to you earlier at the beginning of the talk that whatever you see here, whatever I tell you the water has, you will go away knowing without a shadow of a doubt that this is the property. And so we found an interesting way to demonstrate this to you. You want to see that? You want to see that? No. Okay, watch. This is tap water. This is Kangen water. Let's not get confused, yeah? So I'm going to, for good measure, because we are reusing the cups, because we are all eco-friendly, let me just do a complete rinse. Okay, so we've got all of this out of the way. Okay, so for that, this is how we're going to demonstrate this for you. Okay, I would need tea bags, okay, to simulate your cells. Yeah, this is just nothing but just normal Chinese green tea. And so if I'm going to make tea, incidentally, I need you all to verify this. So I need one of you to come forward and just verify that both of this is just room temperature water. Yeah? It's just room temperature water. Okay. Now, we all know that when you want to make tea, you need something, right? You need heat. Am I right? You need heat. Because heat has got the effect of microclustering the water. When they vibrate more enough, they split up. If they are far enough, then they vaporize. Right? That's what happens. So, tea bags, identical tea bags, I'm going to drop it into this, and we're going to try and make tea. Can we make tea? This is tap water. See what's happening, and see what's happening with this. Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? You can, right? Then you might turn around and say, oh, maybe this water is not blocked, and this is kind of like blocked. So let's see. If I take the same tea bag and I dump it here, and I pour, incidentally here, this water is also colorless. There's no color to it. Yeah. So if I take this and if I pour, can you see how it's pulling out and making tea? Yeah? So you might think, oh, something has happened to this tea bag, now it's activated, so maybe I should be able to pull more water out of it, right? So I'm going to still can't produce it, right? I can do this again and again and again. And just to demonstrate to you that it is the water and not the tea bag that makes a difference. Why is this so? Okay, we are using the tea bag to stimulate the cell. So if the tea bag's membrane is like the cell membrane, then this water is small enough to penetrate the tea bag and pull out the tea, which is what you are seeing here. When I first made this demonstration, somebody said, come on, who are you kidding, Thiru? You know, the cells, we can't even see it with microphone. Here, the tea bag is so big, right? Correct? So we have to show it in some other way. So I'm going to show you this, okay? Which takes the demonstration to the next level. So let me assume that I'm extracting tea. What's it? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a little bit of this extract. Just tea extract. Okay? Okay, good. Now I'm going to take this same tea extract and I'm going to divide it as equally as I can. Okay? So I need somebody to come and verify with me that they are about the same, or if you think one of the cup has got more tea than the other, just tell me which one it is. Roughly, okay? You can't tell? This one has got slightly more. You think so? She says this one has got slightly more, okay? The one on my right has got slightly more. So I'm going to not have a level playing field and we see what's going to happen. So this has got slightly more, this has got slightly less, right? Okay. So in order to make this easier, with the one with the slightly more, I'm going to pour tap water. Okay? So if I pour tap water into that essence, what will happen? What will happen? Something magical will happen, right? Basically, you just dilute the tea, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. So now I'm going to take the same amount of water. This is Kangen water, and I'm going to show you what happens with this. Is there a difference?
Yes.
Same tea extract. In fact, one has got lesser, but when I pour Kangen water into it, there's a lot more tea that's being extracted. What do you think is happening? If I leave it long enough, it'll get darker and darker. Because Kangen water is microclustered, it's able to go into the essence and pull out even more tea. If you talk about saving money, you need to use one tea bag, you can make about 4, 5, 6 cups of tea. That's the other practical use of this, because it is able to extract a lot more, even without heat. Yeah? Because it is microclustered. Now, have I demonstrated the property is different? It is different, isn't it? It is microclustered. Now, because it is microclustered, it is able to hydrate your body a lot more efficiently, a lot more faster. So if you drink the same 1 liter of water, your cells are going to absorb a lot more of this water. And you won't have to run to the toilet as much if you were to drink that water. So that's what happens with microclustering. Okay? Convinced that this is what is actually happening? The molecules are not smaller. The clustering is different. The surface tension, which causes a molecule to stick to each other, is reduced in the Kangen water. Therefore, it is able to be absorbed by your system much faster. Okay? That's the third part, talking about microclustering. Now, as I told you earlier, it is not just a human invention. The machine may look like that, but it was born out of observing nature, this machine. Because in nature, there are many places where there are miracle healing water. The people go there, they queue up like that, like in Lourdes in France, Nordernau in Germany, Lakote in Mexico, Nadana in India, Zamzam water in Saudi Arabia, and a few more other places, where people actually take the effort, travel all the way there, queue up, and get this water. They either soak in it, bathe in it, or drink, and they find that they are cured of a lot of diseases. So back in 1950s, the scientists were wondering what's happening with this, because scientists don't believe in the divine, right? Don't believe in the God. Something must be right. So when they tested all of this water, they found that all this water in all these places had similar properties, which was basically the 3 properties that we talked about. They were highly antioxidant in nature, they were highly alkaline, and they were microclustered. And this happens in nature. So in trying to understand why it happened, they came up with the idea that it's probably because of the way they're moving through the rocks and stuff, and the anti-magnetic force, which is what is mimicked in that machine. Okay, and then you have this water. So you don't have to go to Lakote in Mexico or Lourdes in France to partake in this water. You can have it from the faucet from your house. Is that good or what? Yeah, that's what it's about. Okay. Now, whichever machine that you decide to buy eventually, it doesn't matter. Okay, they all produce all the same 7 given pH of water. So the next phase of demonstration, I'm just going to quickly show you the uses of all this water and what actually it does to your family. Okay? Now, in order to do that, let me do a quick preparation. Let me put this away. Now, all I'm going to do is, this is just normal cherry tomato bought from the market. Yeah? I'm going to just divide it up. Afterwards, we're going to have a bit of a tasting effect, because this is one of the beneficial effects of having this machine at home. Because it allows you to do all of this stuff. Not just drink water, but also completely change your life. I told you at the beginning of this session that the information will change your life, and it will change your life. Okay. What we're doing now is just about the same, right? About roughly about the same amount of tomato. Maybe one more here. Okay, we just leave this out in case we say that it's not even. Okay, so when you buy tomatoes or vegetables or anything in the market, you come back home and all you would do is pour some water and wash it. So this is going to simulate that washing. Okay, that you would normally do. Then for this demonstration, I'm going to prepare 11.5. Okay, 11.5 pH. The pH is 11.5. Taken from the same machine, you press this button at the bottom, you get the 11.5. That's why there are so many machines, because each button produces different kind of water. So all I'm going to do is, this is just to show you, it is clear. There's no color, there's nothing in this, because it's again just tap water, produced slightly differently with the algorithm in the machine. And I'm going to pour this into this, and we'll leave this on this side for a while. Okay? Then we get on with the presentation. We'll come back to see that in a while. Remember that this is tap water, this is Kangen water. Okay. Now, so whichever machine that is out there that you eventually end up getting it, they all produce the same 7 different pH water, 5 different types of water with 7 different pH. Okay, but of course the price is different, so that means the throughput, the output will be different. That's all. Yeah. Now this is the heart of the machine. Okay? On the first level, what happens is when the water gets into the machine, it goes through a high-grade filter. This is the very high quality and high-grade filter which is manufactured in the factory in Osaka in a particular way that nobody can replicate it at the moment. Yeah? And what it will do is it will remove sediment, rust, chlorine, bacteria and odor. That filter is good enough in Singapore's context to filter about 12,000 liters of water. Some other third world countries and all that, it might filter only about 6,000, because it all depends on how bad or how much impurities there are in the input water. Okay? So once it goes through that, it comes out, it goes into the machine. In the machine there is an electrolytic chamber where they have got very high grade. In the flagship model, SD501, you've got very high grade 7 plates, titanium plates coated with platinum, and they are medical grade plates. Okay, there are 7 plates in that machine, and that would ionize the water. Some plates are positively charged, some plates are negatively charged. And the positive plates attract the alkaline buffers, and the negative plate attracts the acidic buffers. Okay? And then, so the water that goes in gets split into 2. That's how the alkaline and acidic is produced, not by adding any chemicals. Very important distinction, which a lot of people out there try to knock it down. Okay? So you get clean water, okay, which has got a pH of 7, which has got some uses, and then you've got drinking water with 3 different pH, 8.5, 9 or 9.5, and then you have got beauty water, which is for your skin and for your hair and stuff like that. So it replaces all the toners, which in a short while I'll be talking about all this water. Okay? So again, recap, 5 different types of water. The first button right on top produces 3 different pH of alkaline drinking water, 8.5, 9 or 9.5. And then the second water is clean water, which is typically used for medicine and baby's milk, infant formula. The third button is for beauty water, 5.5, which is for skin. Generally, it functions like a toner. It has got astringent properties. And then you've got the last strong acid, which is used to treat any sort of infection. It's also used to sterilize your household. Okay? And together with that, when you produce the 2.5, on the other side of it, you will get 11.5, which is strongly alkaline water. Okay? And the strong alkaline water is what I poured into this, and you will see in a short while what are the other uses. Okay? By now you know, just a quick recap, that the 3 main root causes of all degenerative diseases in the world is free radicals, high acidity and dehydration. All we have got now is a very simple solution to clear all of this. Okay? It's a very, very, very simple solution. If I turn around and tell you need to spend hundreds of dollars to buy antioxidants and this medicine, that medicine and swallow it up, that's not a simple solution, because you've got to remember to take it. But water is something which everyone drinks, everyone has to drink anyway. Just as simple as replacing that, you have got one machine which produces water which is high in antioxidation, which is high in alkaline, which neutralizes acidity, and then which is also microclustered, so it helps in hydrating your system. One machine, one solution, all the three major root causes of all diseases are completely gotten rid of. Okay? What are these waters that we have? Okay, before I go into that, this is one of the professional endorsements. This guy is called, his name is Hiromi Shinya. As I told you in the beginning of this, when I started this, that I'll be quoting from a lot of professionals. He is one of them. Okay, Professor of Surgery, Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Now his claim to fame is that he invented colonoscopy, the procedure. That's why it's named after him as the Shinya method. You can again Google this. It's called the Shinya method. What's more impressive about him is that he has done more than 370,000 colonoscopic operations. 370,000. That really puts him up there in the league as an expert, don't you think? How many doctors in Singapore do you know who would have done about 370,000 colonoscopic procedures? Yeah? And he's given a lot of pictures of colons of people whom he has treated. Yeah? He has written two books. One is called the micro factor, the other one is called the enzyme factor. In both of these books, that's a definitive statement that he makes. That he has got a Kangen machine in his New York medical office, and this is the water that he drinks and gives his patient. He is on record as having said that when he adds Kangen water to his patient's treatment protocol, the recovery period gets reduced to 6 weeks as opposed to 6 months. Just because he adds Kangen water into his treatment protocol. Okay? And he goes on to show pictures like this. These are all videographs from his video that he gave. You can go to YouTube and you can find the actual videos. You will find an acidic colon will look like this, the healthy colon will generally look very pinkish. Now he's a colon expert, so he says when you have got a disease, if I treat your colon and make it healthy, generally all the disease will go away. These are some of his pictures. Chronic constipation, breast cancer, that's how it looks. 3 months, just within 3 months of treating with Kangen water. Then you've got this, prostate cancer, again chronic constipation. 45, 52-year-old male, this is after treatment. Just a few more pictures in case some of you went for dinner and it causes it to come out. Just chemotherapy, this is how it looks. And then you look at this after that, within 3 months of treating with this water. Okay? Inflammation, gout, all of them, all are from him. Okay? Now, this book is also endorsed by the American Anti-Cancer Institute. Robert G. Wright, who wrote this book, is the director of the American Anti-Cancer Institute. He very, very, very strongly advocates this machine. Okay? In fact, in chapter 6, he says restructured ionized water could save your life. And then he goes on to emphasize, in page 155 of this book, that the only machine that he will ever buy for his family, for his loved ones, is the Engic SD501. He gives a lot of reasons as to what the water should have and how it should produce. And he makes a very interesting statement here. He says this machine is the only one he recommends because he believes that this machine will outlast his own life. Because the machine's lifespan is about 15 to 20 years. Very low maintenance cost. And in the same book, you've got living proofs. Cancer survivors. 2 of them. One of them is quoted here, living proof. Okay, that's his statement. When he was diagnosed with cancer and he was given 3 months to live, just 3 months to live, throat cancer, and he says this up there, says within 48 hours of drinking this water, his mouth sores were gone, and for the first time he could start eating. And then from being given 3 months to live, he believed that the Kangen water more than anything else made him cancer free. That's also in that book. Okay? There are some other endorsements of this, some other people who have recovered from it. I don't want to go into that at this moment. So let's quickly switch to the varying type of water and what are the uses of this water. Okay? First one, type 1. I told you there are 5 types of water. This is the first type of water. This is the drinking water. Okay? There are 3 different pH. You may wonder why 3 different pH. Okay? This is because some people, some very rare people can't take the 9.5. So they start with 8.5. and maybe 2 weeks later they progress to 9, because their body might have been very acidic and this might be too drastic a change, and then they progress to 9.5. Very rarely do few people just stick at 8.5, but that's why it's there. The option is there. 8.5, 9 or 9.5. You can choose whichever pH. Ultimately, we recommend you try and drink at 9.5 and for the rest of your life drink at 9.5, because we are always fighting forces of acidity. Okay? So it's a powerful antioxidant. It balances your body pH. It's a powerful detoxifier. How it detoxifies, as I told you, it neutralizes a lot of free radicals in your system. Okay? It's a superior hydrator. The microclustering ensures that immediately your cells get hydrated very, very fast. When you drink it, you will feel the difference. Okay? Some people get a head rush immediately because that's how quickly the water gets absorbed by the system. It enhances absorption. Enhances absorption of what? Of nutrients. Because when you use this water to cook, it is able to go into your ingredients, your vegetables and stuff, and pull out the nutrients a lot more. And as it pulls it out, it is able to then push it back into your cells, which is what you need, right? When you cook, when you have your food, whatever you eat, you want the nutritional value, the enzymes and stuff. And that's exactly what it helps you do, absorb a lot more. A nutritionist once told me that for a cell to be optimum, it needs 4 things. It needs 4 things. One is water. The second one is oxygen. The third one is something called glutathione, which your body cells produces. And the fourth one is nutrients. With one fell swoop, this water will allow you to get all 3 of the 4. The glutathione, your body has got to produce it by itself. Okay? And sometimes you can take supplementation for that. That's not the topic here today. But water, oxygen, and nutrients, this water allows you to absorb it much faster. Okay? And it increases the oxygen. How? When you take this water, you will find small little air bubbles inside there, which is the hydroxyl ions, which is the one which also gives you the antioxidant property. A hydroxyl ion, the chemical symbol is minus OH. When you combine 2 OH minus together, you get a H2O plus an extra O. The extra O is oxygen. Which is why sports people, when they drink this, they find that they've got lots more energy, because the cells get a lot more oxygen. There's lesser buildup of lactic acid. Okay? And it's very low cost. Why is it low cost? Because once you bought the machine, the maintenance cost is very low. Per liter of water that you produce is much cheaper than any of this bottled water. Much, much cheaper. It's only a few cents. Okay? Sports people, performance, let's go ahead with the next one. We have got, this is another expert who gave a testimony. She's a brain expert, Dr. Corinne Allen. She's an international researcher with more than 30 years of experience into researching into natural health and nutrition. She treats special needs kids, Asperger's, Down syndrome, and a few other, autism. And she says, she gives a 2-hour talk, which you can find in YouTube. In a book also she states this. She said, Kangen water has been providing autistic kids with a strong source of antioxidants and improved hydration. In our brain programs, we observe that our therapeutic expectations are far exceeded when we add Kangen water to the treatment. Okay. And her main theory is that the brain is more than 80% water. So when you feed it with the right amount of water and oxygen, it is then able to send the signals to every part of your body, and because that is the neural center, that is the CPU, it is able to then tell your body to heal itself much more efficiently. It's only when it is dehydrated, when it doesn't have enough oxygen, that the signals get short-circuited, and the brain's communication with the rest of the body is hampered, and you have disease and you have all sorts of problems. Okay? These are some of the testimony from her clients, her patients. It's good for the body, it's good for animals, it's also good for plants. Yeah? These are actual effects of what actually happens when you start pouring Kangen water into the plant. Because it's microclustered, it allows the plants to absorb a lot more nutrients. So you end up getting plants, vegetables which are this. Have you ever seen okra or lady's finger that big? Have you ever seen? And the interesting thing is this is grown in a potted plant in a house in Singapore. And the only thing that's made the difference is we pour the residual water that comes out when you take the drinking water into the plant and you get this. Okay? It's good for us, it's good for the animals. This is one of the distributors, a brother in Brunei, fed for a study, fed a chicken with the water. Same chicken, different water, 2 months later you get that size egg. Don't ask me how the egg came out of the chicken, okay? Must have been very painful. Yeah, I think so. But the reason why that happens is because the water enables the animals or the plant to absorb a lot more of these nutrients, whether it's from the soil or from the food. And therefore it gets into the system and you get this. Think of what will happen if a pregnant woman drinks this water.
So how does the egg taste?
Say again?
So how does the egg taste?
How does that?
The egg taste.
Very good, very nutritious. Good value for money. Okay? Because there's a lot more nutrition in there. Second type of water is clean water. Okay? What do you use clean water for? Why do you need clean water if the water from the machine is clean? We just say clean because clean water is just filtered water. It is not ionized. When it goes through the ionization process, it takes the property of getting microclustered. When it doesn't go through the ionization process, it is not microclustered. The reason why we have that is because there are certain things in life that you need to take when you don't want the absorption to be too fast. An example is medicine and baby's infant formula. They are designed with time release mechanism. When a doctor prescribes a medicine for you and he says take it 3 times a day, he says that because that medicine is supposed to release the drug into you over a span of 8 hours. That's why it's 3 times a day. If it's 4 times a day, it releases it over 6 hours. Baby's infant formula is also produced with that kind of a mechanism in mind. But if you take it with Kangen water, that mechanism will get screwed. Okay? This water will go inside and make you absorb it much too fast, in too high a concentration. And it is for that reason that they tell you when you're taking medicine or when you're preparing baby's infant formula, don't use the Kangen water, use the clean water. It is still better than your tap water because it doesn't have chlorine. It doesn't have bacteria. It doesn't have sediments and rust. Okay? So it's better to take the clean water from the machine than to take straight off the tap. Simple enough? The reason why this is there, not because Kangen water is bad, but because it is too efficient in pulling the things out. Okay? You want the medicine to work according to its design. You want the baby's infant formula to work according to its design. Clear enough? Okay? The third different type of water is beauty water. Again, you press that yellowy looking button in there, you get beauty water. So called because it has got a pH which is equivalent to your skin's pH of 5.5. So when you take this water, you can use it for a couple of things. Generally skin related, health, beauty related. You can use this, pour it as a last rinse over your head after shampooing. Your hair will feel like it has had what we call what is that called? Conditioner. Yeah, it will feel like it has had conditioner, so you don't need conditioner. Putting that on your skin, it has got the effect of toning. It has got astringent properties and antiseptic properties. So on the skin, when you put it, it tightens your pores. Ladies love this. Okay. Incidentally, it is also good for cooking pasta. Okay. Strong Kangen water, which is what we are going to demonstrate a little bit more. Strong Kangen water has got a pH of 11.5. It literally replaces all your soap, all your cleaning agents in your house, but without the harmful effect of all these caustic substances. You all do know that all the cleaning substances you have there, from your cleaning soda and everything, they're actually harmful to you. You do know, right? And you also know that it's also harmful to the environment. This water will do all of that cleaning without any of those harmful effects. Why? Because it has got an ability to do this, which I would rather demonstrate to you than just tell you. Okay? So we're going to see that in a while. One of you can come and verify that this is nothing but just pure sesame oil. 100% sesame oil. No gimmick, nothing whatsoever. Yeah? Pure sesame oil. We use this to represent the oil that you have in your food. After you cook, you know, all the food has got oil, right? So it happens. So I'm just going to pour a little bit. It really doesn't matter how much I pour, but try and make it as even as possible. Okay, since you guys are there, just point out, just with your finger, on which one you want me to pour tap water. I'm going to do two things. On one I'm going to pour tap water, and on the other one I'm going to pour the 11.5 Kangen water. Okay? So, which one would you like me to pour the tap water? Anyone? Not rocket science, come on. Participate, come on. Which one? The one here? Tap water? Okay, tap water. So when you pour water into oil, what happens? Just floats, huh? Oil and water don't mix, right? Your mom would have told you that, right? It doesn't mix. So it just floats because it can't do anything to that water. But don't blink. Watch what happens when I pour strong Kangen water into it. Any comments? Yeah? Yeah. The word is emulsification, or breaking down of that oil. That's what's happening. Yeah? This water has got the ability to go, because it's so microclustered and all that, it's got the ability to go inside and break the oil down. We use this to demonstrate that what it will actually do to your system as you're drinking the 9.5. We are using 11.5 to demonstrate because you can see it much better. But even with the 9.5, that breaking down effect happens. Which is why when you're drinking the 9.5 on a regular basis, a lot of our distributors report that their blood pressure is normalized. The cholesterol problem goes away, and a lot of other health benefits comes in. Because this water is able to unclog a blocked artery or vein over time. Okay? Now, because it can do this, it can break down. The reason why it does this is because it is breaking down that oil. Because it can do this, it is the reason why this thing will happen. You're going to see that in a while. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to take this. This is tomatoes. Represents all the vegetables and stuff that you buy from the market, and represents the way in which you will wash it, which is basically with tap water. Yeah? So as you would see, you would think that, okay, you would see some dirt. So for good measure, I'm going to wash it one more time, because you guys are going to be eating this as a taste test. Okay? So this is tap water. Okay? You would agree that I've soaked it for about the same time? Roughly about the same time? So now, watch this. Can you all see that? I'm going to wash it with 9.5 again. Yeah? Is there a difference? Is there a difference? What do you think is the difference? Besides the color, yeah? What is the difference? What do you think has happened? Yeah? What do you think has happened? One is yellowish, the other one is not. Same tomato, different water, different effect. Anybody? After the guess? Pesticides. Very good. Which one now has pesticides? This one?
Yellow one.
Yeah? See, what we don't realize, I need you all to try this, but before that let me just tell you what actually has happened. When the farmer grows his vegetables, he knows that when you go to the market, you always like to choose the nice, shiny looking one. You don't choose the one which is bitten by insects. Right? So he's got to stop that. So he sprays pesticide onto the vegetables to prevent pests from eating it up. And he's lazy, so he doesn't want to go back and do it again every time the rain comes back. Right? So he needs to make sure that the pesticide that he sprays sticks onto the vegetable and doesn't get washed away with rainwater. So they are normally oil-based. Make sense? Yeah? Interesting question is, if the rainwater cannot wash the pesticide, can your tap water wash it? Can it wash it away? It can't. 16 years ago I found out about this, and they said there is this thing called the biodegradable cleaners. It's soap, but it biodegrades. So if you have some soap sticking to your vegetables, never mind, when it goes into your system, it will degrade, so it won't cause you harm. How many of you know that such soap exists to wash your vegetables? It's quite expensive. You need to buy and use it. Not many people. 16 years ago, I was told that it is this pesticides, trace amounts of it that's still sticking to your vegetable, that goes into your system, becomes a free radical and becomes cancerous. And yet, until today, not many people use it. So we've all been eating vegetables laced with pesticides. Interesting thing to think about. We are all eating vegetables which even the insects don't want to buy. Think about that. Okay, one of you can come and help me with this. Taste this. This is the ultimate test of the use. It's not just about telling you about what it does. And I need you to understand the health implications of this water and what you can do. Yeah? Taste this tomato. We call it Kangen tomato. Why? Because it has been washed with Kangen water. And the Kangen water has effectively removed the pesticides. That's why the pesticide is here. Yeah? After I tell you so much, I know you'll now cringe at the fact that I'm asking you to eat this, right? But you've been eating this kind of vegetable all your life, so just one more wound harm. Just one more wound, tip the scale, okay. Now you can try giving. This is, now, as you do this, I want you to finish up the tomato. Wait, hang on. Finish up the tomato. Clear it out of the mouth so that you get a good sense of the taste. And then eat this. And then see what is the taste difference, if any. Some of you are sensitive, some of you are not. If you are sensitive, you will know. And you will get a certain feel. So I don't want to preempt it. You just tell me what you feel and what you get. Okay? You tasted it first. What's the difference between the first and second tomato? Can you feel? Oh, you haven't tasted the second one yet. Okay. You've done that now. Can you?
Not very sensitive.
You're not very sensitive. Okay. Just as a guess, which one did you like? Did you like anything better than the other?
The first one is stronger.
Stronger as in?
The taste, yeah.
The taste. Stronger, nicer, whatever. Okay. The second one?
Less.
Don't know. Okay. Okay. Stronger. Anybody else?
Same taste.
Huh?
Same.
For you, same taste. Okay. Anybody else? You?
The first one is sweeter.
First one is sweeter. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Crunchy.
And crunchier. Okay.
The second one is a bit sour.
Second one is a bit sour. Very good. Typical observation that we get from people. Second one is a bit more sour. First one is a bit more sweeter and crunchier. Yourself?
I found the second one sour.
Sour. Second one sour.
The first
Okay.
one was nicer.
Nicer. Yourself? Same?
First one is
Same? Anybody else? Yeah. The reason is very simple. The sour taste comes from the pesticide. The sweet taste is actually how the fruit actually tastes. So half the time when you eat, when you don't wash it away, you are eating the pesticide and the taste of the pesticide is interfering with it. The first one is sometimes more crunchier because that water is able to pass through the skin. It gives it a bit more of a more firm texture. That's why it becomes a bit more, because the fruit actually absorbs that water in, stuff like that. So this is what happens. Yeah? My more interesting thing to realize and ask is this. I just told you, I need a volunteer. Who's going to volunteer this time? Anybody? Simple. Very simple task. Somebody, come on, participate. Volunteer.
do what?
I need you to come and drink this. You wouldn't, right? In a good frame of mind, if you would not drink this, am I right? You'd be crazy to drink this, knowing that this is all pesticide, right? Then my question is, why would you continue eating food and vegetable like this, which is just washed water? Because whatever is not here is still here. So eating this is tantamount to drinking this, isn't it? In your right frame of mind, you won't do this. So my question to you is, why would you choose to continue to do it? Knowing the harmful effect it has got. Which is one of the strongest reasons why, one of the biggest reasons why, more than 30% of all deaths in Singapore, I am an insurance guy, I came from insurance background, so I know the statistics. More than 30% of all deaths in Singapore is caused by cancer. Number one killer. You start wondering where it's coming from. Now you know. Now you know. Your lifestyle, your acidity, adding all these kind of toxins. And marketing, which puts all of this into you. So that's the third property. That's a fourth type of water. Having this machine in the house this water will allow you to remove all sorts of caustic substances from your life. It will help you to stop poisoning yourself and your loved ones, whether they are children or your family. Because the same thing which allows it to break down oil also allows it to be used as a cleaner, to clean your windows, to clean your stove after cooking, to clean your floors, everything, without the harmful effect of the chemicals. Once I was doing a bit of a cleaning in the house, and there was a window, and I used this thing called Windex. Now they've got different brands, Kiwi and all that, Windex. So I was very close to the glass and I sprayed it, and as I sprayed it, the spray hit the glass and came back, and I breathed it in, and it kind of like burned my lungs, the track, because that's how caustic it was. I can take this strong alkaline water and spray it on my face, nothing will happen. In fact, a lot of ladies use a strong alkaline to remove as a makeup remover, and they no longer have to use any harmful substances to remove because it breaks down the oil. It's very effective. In fact, as an added bonus, the skin starts getting to look better. So you can use the same thing and use it as a window cleaner. You can use the same thing and clean your stove, clean your house and everything, without ever touching any sort of caustic chemicals, which is harmful to you, harmful to your family, and harmful to the environment. That's why this company is very big on being green. Okay? These are some examples of what you do to clean. The one on the right, uppermost, is a food stuff being cleaned in a restaurant. General washing, and then somebody in Singapore did this, took the cleaning water, the 11.5, and started cleaning their tires. That's what they had. Okay, so it can actually clean. And at the same time as it cleans, it's also harmless to you. So if you have small children around, you want this water around, because if this water pours on you, nothing will happen. Okay? In Japan, dentists use this because to sterilize them. They use this strong acid water. Strong acid water has got certain properties. It actually heals you, heals wounds. It prevents you from, it stops infection. So in Japan, the dentists use this because they find that after a dental treatment, when they let them gargle with this acid water, the bleeding stops immediately. Some of the users in Japanese hospitals, they use this to treat psoriasis and eczema, any sort of skin infection. Okay, these are some results of people who, until they found this water, felt that there was no cure, or they were told that there was no cure. And when they found this water, in as quickly as 2 weeks, they find relief, they find cure. I personally have got experiences locally. That's how I got into this business anyway. Yeah. This is psoriasis. This is the baby from KL who was born and had this eczema condition. And to go from how the baby was looking on the top picture to how he was looking at the bottom, it only took about 3 weeks. And for the baby being alkaline, they didn't feed the baby with alkaline water. They only sprayed acidic water. Now let me ask you a question. If you have a new parent and the parent's child has got that kind of a condition, and if you gave them this water and they found relief like that, what kind of a gift is that to the parent? Because they got no other solution. When they look at it, every day they look at it, they don't know what to do. This is from a family in KL. Okay? The other users, acne. This chap is a teenager, a Filipino. He's in Singapore, one of Desmond's clients. If you look at the date from January 26 to March 14, you will see the big difference that you see in his back. And when you understand that he has been trying to find a solution for his condition for 8 over years, and this water literally cured him in about 2 months. It's a very big thing. Don't you think so? It's a very big thing. We've got many cases like this. Yeah? This is Desmond's brother-in-law, diabetic. Didn't believe much in this water and things like that. After listening to a little bit more, decided to try it out. On the left is how the leg was looking as a diabetic patient. Circulation was bad. On the right is within 4 weeks of drinking this water and soaking the feet with acidic water. That's what we do. Okay? This is his sister-in-law. Very bad reaction to soap. 8 over years, same problem. You know, so that therefore cannot touch any detergent, cannot wash. And on the right side is her hand. Okay? I asked her, I said, how long did you do? Did you spray it? We generally tell people to spray the acidic water about 3 or 4 times a day. I said, what do you do? How many times did you spray? She said, one spray I will soak. She was so desperate to get cured, when she watches any Chinese serial for 1 hour or 2 hours or something, she will soak her hand in the strong acidic water that's produced by this machine. I say strong acidic water. It is strong acidic water, not strong acid. So it doesn't burn you. I used the same strong acid water and sprayed it into my eye when I had viral conjunctivitis. It kept it free from secondary infection. So if it's that safe to spray into the eye, it is safe for anything. Okay? These are real life examples. This guy, I don't want to talk too much about it because a Canadian distributor suffered from what is called a staphylococcus staph infection, which is a flesh-eating bacteria. In 5 years, no cure. And then he found the water. Okay? That's for flesh-eating bacteria. This is some of the video graph of people with gangrene, similar to the one that I told you about in the video. This chap is in Malaysia. They call him the Iron Head. I can't remember his name now. I met him in KL when I went there. The picture on the left is not a softball. Okay? It is his head. He's a Kangen water distributor. The story is he was in a presentation like this in a house in KL. After the presentation, they stepped outside. He was waiting with a lady friend for another friend to bring the car around. 2 thugs came in a motorbike, snatched the woman's handbag away. He interfered. So with that process, the motorbike fell down. He went to accost them. He got slashed on the hand. Next hand, he got slashed. And the third slash fell on his head. And the thugs ran away. Middle of the night about 9:30. He says, he's the man standing there talking to us and telling us about his ordeal. Because he's a Kangen distributor, they immediately rushed him back into the house. They had just done a presentation and they poured strong acid water over his head. Immediately the wound kind of like closed up and clogged. Otherwise he would have died. Because he needed more than 40 stitches. And the ambulance took 1.5 hours to come. This is KL. After they called the ambulance, it took 1.5 hours. So for 1.5 hours, this guy is sitting in the house with that big a gap and the bleeding had stopped because they poured the strong acid water. And on top of that, they feel very strongly that the strong acid water was probably responsible for them not getting any sort of infection. Because the parang that the guys use, you don't know how badly rusted it is or what kind of AIDS-tainted blood it has got or anything like that, we don't know. So he says he's alive today because of this water. And this is within less than 2 months, if I'm not wrong, of getting cured. And look at the scar on the right hand side. There's a very small scar. It heals very well. So if you have this water at home, you don't know whose life you can save or what kind of family emergencies you will actually help eradicate. Okay, that's the water. So in a nutshell, what have you got? We have got with Engic's leveluk SD501, you have got very high quality and reliability in the machine. Don't just take my word for it. Read this book and Robert G. Wright will tell you his reasons why only this machine will do for his own family. He says you can buy whatever machine you want. I've told you, you need alkaline water, you need this. There are dime a dozen machines out there which say that they can do the same thing and that they are half the price or 1/3 the price. The real truth is they are half the price or 1/3 the price because they use inferior material and they cannot do the same thing. If you want to know more about it, I will tell you all the testing that I have actually done. Okay? The machine actually filters chlorine, lead, rust and heavy metals in order. It is the only machine, let me say again, it is the only machine in the market that can produce the 2 end spectrums of the strong acidic and strong alkaline water. 2.5 and 11.5. Not a single machine out there can produce these two. The maximum they can produce will be about 10.5. And they can't produce a strong acid of 2.5. This is the only machine that can do it. And there is a very useful users for 2.5 and 11.5. Useful daily users. Okay? It has got automated self-cleaning. The machine will run its algorithm, its proprietary software will do that on its own. It has also got a deep cleaning, a proprietary deep cleaning, which will ensure that this machine will last you between 15 to 20 years. We know. How do we know? Because the oldest machine that is still in operation is more than 20 years and still running like new without any maintenance problem. without a requirement to replace your electrolytic plates. It has got a 15-year life expectancy. As far as the company is concerned, they stay only 15 years. But we know that the machine will last 15 to 20 years. They give you this flagship model. The SD501 has got 7 plates and they've got 5 years warranty on all parts and labor. It has got the best electrolysis chamber. The electrolysis chamber is the heart of the machine. How big the plates are, what kind of power they can take, what kind of current they actually use, all that determines the quality of ionization and hence the quality of the water. It is not just important that at the point when you take out that the ORP must be good. It is also important to note how long the ORP will last with the water. If you take a water which has got ORP of say minus 400 and within 20 minutes it's dropped to minus 180, then that water, how effective it can be in your body is questionable, given that every second your body has got oxidative stress. The numbers I'm telling you are things which I've actually tested with a comparator machine. The same time when I tested that, I tested my water when I brought it to his house. It was 1.5 hours old. I started with an ORP of minus 786. And 1.5 hours later, it was 715, minus 715. The competitor's product, where they say it can do exactly the same thing, it started with minus 480 something, and within 20 minutes, it dropped to minus 180 something in millivolts. So I know for a fact that those water, because of the technology, because of whatever they use, which they claim doesn't make a difference, makes a difference. Because the water is not able to hold its ORP. Okay. So these are some comparison of all the sizes of plates. If you want more details of this, you can speak to the person who brought you here and we can talk about it and we can say why it's very important. If you look on the surface area side, you notice that Engic's plates are more, in terms of square inches, they are more than twice the competitor's plates. Not to mention that the competitor's plates are all what we call mesh plates. And mesh plates is another way of cheating, it's another way of reducing the platinum and titanium plates, because that is the most expensive. Okay? So what do you have? In a nutshell, this is what you have. It is the only gold standard. It is the only machine that's been given the gold standard by the Water Quality Association in America, in the water ionization category. None of the machines have this gold standard. It is an approved medical device by the Japanese Ministry of Health. It started out being a medical device, so they maintained that when they brought out the models for the domestic use. It is the only ionizer endorsed by the Japanese Association of Preventive Medicine for adult diseases. This association has got its members 6,500 medical doctors in Japan. And in all the different categories that they look for in trying to help prevent adult diseases, they only endorse one machine. In the water ionization category, this is the only machine that association has endorsed. It is the only machine that is also prescribed and endorsed by Dr. Hiromi Shinya, whom you heard about earlier, the man who has done more than 370,000 colonoscopies. It is the only machine that is recommended by the American Anti-Cancer Institute. The author is Robert G. Wright. Okay? It is also the only machine that is endorsed by Dr. Corinne Allen, the expert on nutritionist and brain function. Quest for Kangen is a report written by Dr. Dave Carpenter. That's another report which also endorses only this machine because of his experience. And then in the Truthful Ionizer Review website, they rank a couple of ionizer machines. And they have found it fit to rank Engic's 3 machines. The SD501, the Junior and the Deluxe machine as the first 3. And the 4th machine is one other competitor's machine. And the rest of the machine they don't even want to rank, because they say it's way below. So the first 3 is these 3 machines. That's what you have. That's quality. You may think that we are overhyping on it and that that's not important. But when you get this machine, it's about your health. When you go to a doctor to see a doctor, when you go to the hospital to see a doctor, you want the best surgeon, you want the best doctor. If you need to go for a heart surgery, you want the best doctor. This is about your health. You don't want to play around with it and pay a price later. Because Dr. Dave Carpenter, in his report, he states this. His story, very briefly, is this. He went to America, he went to Japan, found out about ionizers. He went back to America to treat his patients. He was looking for ionizers. Over a span of 8 years, he bought 7 different machines, all purporting to do exactly the same thing that he thought he saw in Japan, in hospitals. But every time he came back, he bought the machine and he gave the water to his patients in the clinic and said, drink this water, it will improve on your health, come back and collect more. Nobody came back because nobody felt the benefit of drinking that water. Until as an 8th machine in 2003, Engic went into America and somebody introduced him into it. So as an 8th machine, after close to about 10 years, he bought this Engic's machine. This time when he started giving out the water, he got into trouble. Because now, between 350 to 400 gallons of water was flying out of his clinic. With a lot of people coming back with a lot of miraculous stories of what this water was doing for them. So he says, in a YouTube video, you can find this also, and he says, I don't know, this is technology, this is it, from my experience, it's the only machine which delivers water. Everyone else says they deliver the water, but somehow or other it doesn't work. You can draw your own conclusion. Okay? There are always 3 different types of people in this world that I come across. The first type of people, no matter what they came here with, whatever attitude they came here with, they'll always have this attitude that it is too good to be true, whatever you're telling me. So I'm not going to believe it. It's all bullshit. I'm going to go the way I am. You might be that such a person. I hope not. Yeah? But it's okay. It's your choice. Right? It's a free world. I call them type C. Type B is the second group of people who, once they listen to it with an open mind, they've taken the information in, but they always feel that they have got to experience everything before they even talk about it or even try. They've got to experience it themselves. If you are one such person, then I would suggest that you take that step. If this information was compelling enough, take that step to try out the water. But when you take that step to try out the water, try it out with volition. Don't try it half-heartedly. Because when you do it with a half-hearted effort, you may not get the result that you're supposed to get, and you may be responsible for discouraging others. So when you take this water, take it with volition. Drink only this water as far as possible. Whenever you need to drink water. You can go ahead, drink your coffee, tea and all that, but when it comes to water, drink this. Stop all the soda and everything. And drink it regularly. Regularly means at least drink 2 to 3 liters a day, which is what you need to drink. Okay? So make a commitment to come and collect. After all, the person who brought you here can give you 5 liters of this water every day for the next 2 weeks. You just need to take the trouble to go and collect the water. You can come here and collect the water even. Okay? That's type B, the person who finds it interesting and needs to experience it. And then of course there's type A. Type A, the kind of people who looks at this, the information that's presented is compelling enough. Tell me what I should need to do, sign, go and buy, and go with it. Whichever type you are, it's fine. Okay? But I hope you don't face the situation that I faced. I told you all before this beginning of this session, I told you a story of this doctor, Dr. Ko, who talked about his friend who went for a medical examination, was given a clean bill of health, and 6 months later he was diagnosed with cancer. Right? Sad part about that tale is within 1 year of that diagnosis, that person died. He was only 50-something years old when he died. Cancer. Because the treatment that today's medication does, or today's medical profession does, they treat the symptoms. See, when you start treating the cancer and targeting the tumor with radiation therapy or chemotherapy, you are not addressing the root cause. The root cause is what caused the cancer cells to flare up. So when you are treating the symptoms, you don't get the cure, right? That's that part. My friend's mother, whose leg was amputated and she was in hospital, at the time when my friend's brother came and saw me, the mom was not healing. Her leg, she's diabetic, her leg had been amputated, it was not healing, they were pumping her up with a lot of antibiotic. And Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday they kept on telling her, your mom is not healing. We are very worried. We have to move her into a high dependency ward. That is when my friend came to see me because I had sent out an email broadcast to all my friends. So when I told him about this water, it's not healing, why don't you soak it in strong acid water and then make a drink, he consulted the wound specialist in SDH and they said, according to their protocol, water cannot touch an infected wound. Right? Doesn't matter what kind of water. And because she was in the hospital, they couldn't do anything. So I said, you can't stop her from drinking the water and make sure that she drinks about 3 to 5 liters. So he took 5 liters from me, gave it to the sister on Thursday. She stayed in the hospital the whole day and fed the mom the water. The next day, Friday, he called me and said, Thiru, can I have more of this water? So I said, why? He said, my mom who was like bedridden and she was pumped up with so much of antibiotic that it was screwing up with the stomach, she was not eating, she was weak, she was in a high dependency ward. One day of drinking this water, the next day on Friday, she was sitting up, eating food and talking to people. So he said, I want more of your water. So I live in Chinatown, so I took 10 liters and brought it and gave it to them. And the sister beautifully camped overnight on the weekend and fed the mom the water. The following Monday when the doctor came to check on the mom, this time she said, we are very happy, your mom is responding very well to our treatment. She might get discharged on a Friday. That's the statement that was made to the son. So him and me, we know what actually would have helped. Because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the mantra was the same. Your mom is not responding, your mom is not responding, they keep on pumping out antibiotic. Wednesday he took the water, Thursday he gave it to her, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the following Monday she is like out of the danger zone and ready to get discharged by the following Friday. So he bought the machine, the mom is doing very well with it now. So that's my experience. That's one of the reasons why I am here giving this talk and why I'm so passionate about it. Because my regret always is that I bought the machine in November. When I sent the email out in March, the mom, my best friend's mom, who's like my mother, got her leg amputated 1 week before I sent out the email. So the price of not believing it and running with it, like how a type A person would do, is that my friend's mom's feet has been amputated. Could I have saved it? Maybe. Looking at all the literature and the evidence, very high chance it would have happened. Yeah? Because I know how a lot of diabetic patients have been cured. I've got on video a personal interview with an 83-year-old Australian woman who was on 3,000 milligrams of metformin. 3 doses a day, 1,000 milligrams each. For 23 years she was on this medication. 3 months of drinking this water, the doctor told her, you don't need this medicine anymore. The blood sugar level is in perfect control. So now it's in control without any medication. 3 months of drinking this water, 23 years of metformin, 3,000 milligrams of metformin. And that woman is 83 years old. If we can do that to that person, and in today's, our medical profession, when you are diabetic, what do they tell you? You all know what they tell you? Once a diabetic, always a diabetic. You got no choice but to depend on the medication. That's what today's medical profession will tell you. Because they only treat symptoms. That is the problem. As Dr. Ko said. Okay? So, are there any questions? You all want to hear some testimony? We've got a very strong testimony here from Siak, who is treating his mother-in-law. You all want to hear that? Or are you all okay with that? Siak, would you mind?
So last December, I got the news that my mom-in-law, she was 70 years old, got this esophagus cancer, last stage. So there's a tumor over here. She was having problems actually eating for many months, but without telling any one of us. Okay? And after some time, she got to drink water to force down the food, rice and food. And after that, she got to start eating porridge instead of rice, because rice is considered hard object, hard food, solid food. And even then, we didn't know about this. So at a later stage, even with the porridge, she also had got to drink water, force down the porridge. And then she started to throw up after eating food. after every meal. That is when the problem really flared up, and the family members brought her to the hospital, and got diagnosed with this esophagus cancer, last stage, the tumor inside. So I got introduced to this Kangen water from Anthony. He brought Thiru to my house on Sunday, I remember. And then I say, well, I don't even know what is this treatment. Anthony was telling me, are you open-minded to alternative treatment therapy kind of thing? I say, yeah, why not? Listen to it. So then came Thiru together with Anthony. So I didn't even know what was that. Then I saw the bottle with the water with the computer. So I listened to it. And it makes a lot of sense to me. Even I have not come across this kind of method. And I was also got introduced to the book, some of those books like the Killing Cancer of People. And I got a copy of it through the internet. Immediately I spent like a high-speed reading. Read the whole book twice. And straight away I understand the whole thing and I say, hey, it makes a lot of sense. So immediately I make a decision. I bought the machine and I hand carry over. So I'm the type A actually. I say we cannot waste time. I buy straight away. I flew over with the machine to Shanghai because I work in Shanghai most of the time. Right? So I start to put this my mom-in-law on this water. So of course the family member they didn't believe it. They say, oh, cannot be water, just water. So I say, never mind, let's drink water. That's okay. So, and of course, also, with reference to that book, I bought some health supplement over. And on the 12th day, she actually suddenly can eat rice without any problem. So it's for herself to experience it, my mom-in-law. And, but unfortunately, she also went for chemotherapy. Happened to be on the 12th day, in the afternoon. So luckily is that she actually experienced able to swallow the food. And after that, in the afternoon, went for chemotherapy for 3 sessions. So almost died with the chemotherapy. But luckily recovered after 12 days and continue with no more chemotherapy, but continue with the water, the rain, and also the health supplement. So she has put on 6 kg over the last couple of months, 3-4 months. I last saw her about 3 weeks ago. Very happy, old lady, 71 years old now, and start growing back the hair, and quite a bit of black hair coming out. That used to be white hair. Right. Also got the photos, right? So that's the experience.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so, okay, someone just a little bit more. Somehow in the village, my mom-in-law stayed in the village in China, one of the provinces. A lot of the relatives and neighbors actually got cancer. You know, so few of them actually have this stomach cancer. Same problem after eating food, they throw up. So they asked me, hey, what to do? I say very simple, just get water from the machine, because I brought the machine. So a few of them actually started drinking. After like a week, they don't have this symptom anymore, so they are doing fine. So that's the experience.
Thank you. It's always nice to hear people who have got experiences like that. You know? That, yeah. Okay, about the black hair thing, don't get your hopes raised too high. Okay, I don't know about it. I'm trying. It's still not good. Yeah, but some people it seems to work. You know, but anyway, that's about it. Thank you for your time. I hope you have learned a lot and that you are motivated to take some action. If you are new and you are trying it out, then I would suggest that make a promise to yourself to try it with full volition, then you'll get the full experience. The irony of this whole thing is that if you are sickly, you kind of will see the effect much faster. Then if you are generally healthy, it will still be working on you, but you will probably think that it is not making a difference. My latest feedback that I got was a WhatsApp message from India, because one of my friends has bought the machine, brought it to India. And the other day, after fixing it up, he messaged me. He said the water seems to be doing a lot of positive good for my wife's 98-year-old grandmother. So I said, wow, what is happening? I said, prior to the machine, the setting up the machine, she was like an invalid in bed. They have a hospital bed, and they've got an entourage of mates because they're quite well to do, looking after her, and she's like completely like not motionless and all that. They've been giving her this water and all that, and it has only been about 2 weeks. The grandmother is sitting up and asked to be transferred to a normal bed and ordering the maids around. See? So he said, wow, it's like that, and it's less than 3 weeks. So from that lifeless to somebody who's sitting there and now ordering everyone around and moving, I think that's a miraculous stuff. But if you tell people, they won't believe it. But that's my story. That's the last thing that I just got. Okay? So thank you for your time. Bye.